Welcome to the return of Last Mark Standing, lastmarkstanding.com, with your co-host, Damian G and heel Trina herself, the Marky Smark. What's up, Trina?
Hi, guys.
We're back after a bit of a holiday hiatus, but we are back, and I'm just gonna say it. Wrestle Kingdom 11 is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Just from a pure spectacle standpoint. I always talk about pageantry. I always talk about making the show bigger than what it is. Wrestle Kingdom did all that for me. For those that didn't see Wrestle Kingdom 11, New Japan's, I guess, WrestleMania, like the kickoff to their new year, in a sense. I watched it over 2 days. I watched it on, obviously late. And for those who've been getting at me for not getting New Japan World, sorry, I got to hook up. I don't have to pay for it. I was sharing somebody else's account. There goes that. I'm cheap. I got things I got to save up money for in the future. Whatever. Get at me at it. I don't care. I dare to be named. I don't care. So over 2 days, Wednesday night till about 2 in the morning, and Thursday morning from 7 a.m. till about when I went on Mat Men on Thursday morning. So around like 10 o'clock. So in those, I want to say 13 hours, I slept 6 and then watched Wrestle Kingdom the rest of the time. You know this, Trina. I've never done something like that. Usually when a pay-per-view passes, I don't go back and rewatch it.
Right.
But I felt I had to do this, not even for Indie Pop, more for Last Mark Standing and for myself. I had to go back and rewatch this because what this did for me was strengthen the fact that Japan has so much great talent, in-ring talent, that can tell a story without an over-the-top promo, without vignettes that seem cheesy, without 3 hours of Monday Night Raw promoting it, 2 hours of SmackDown, whatever you want to say. I didn't need to see that much promotion going into it. It was a big deal from the pre-show with the ridiculousness of Billy Gunn in the Battle Royal, and Cheeseburger literally throwing cheeseburgers into the crowd. Like, I pop for things like that, and you have a special connection with Big Mike Elgin. So I was very pleased to see that he won the Rumble, or their version of the Royal Rumble, I guess. And seeing, I believe, a couple of 54-year-olds in the ring, Jushin Liger was there, a couple other ones. And I'm thinking, these dudes are Ric Flair, Jace. They can't take a bump. I mean, they're still doing athletic moves.
Oh, yeah. In
their 50s. So that tells me right there, this is a different breed of wrestling, a different athletic competition. If New Japan wanted to turn to just shoot fighting, I would get a subscription to that, because the amount of just hard-hitting, ass-kicking action, it was something different for me. It was more in line, and I know Masked Fan talks about this all the time, it's more in line with what yours truly loves. And that's stiff hitting. And I know people like Mimi don't like it. They don't like strong style to be that stiff, which is fine. But then you had a mix of high flying with storytelling, and I'm not going to go through the card. I'm just going to pick and choose a couple of things here. But let me just say, I'm going to beat the drum again. Cody Rhodes on the independent circuit, it's not clicking. That was the lowest ranked match on the card for me. Like, everything else, that was filler as far as I was concerned. I was more impressed with Juice Robinson, formerly known as CJ Parker from NXT, more so than I was with Cody. You could tell the time in Japan has helped Juice Robinson from when he was in NXT. So I'm glad he got this chance, and I'm glad he's going to be able to get this chance to work with Ring of Honor. So I was more impressed with him. I thought Cody's character development was actually pretty good, more so than his in-ring stuff. I thought that he kind of channeled all of his characters. He channeled Stardust a tad bit. He channeled dashing Cody Rhodes. He channeled, just angry Cody, and then he went to a little bit of Randy Orton. I don't know if you saw that, but he channeled a little Randy Orton, especially. Was it the DDT off the top of the cage? No. Anyway, I digress. Just knowing that Cody Rhodes is trying out new things, I'm okay with that. But the match itself was nothing to write home about. Who really impressed me? Shibata definitely impressed me. The Kushida match, I put this on Twitter at Dare to be Damian. It was probably Takahashi Kushida was probably one of the most sloppiest matches I ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised both of them are dead. Or
that's pretty much a lot of the matches on Wrestle Kingdom.
No, I know that. And given the fact that we saw Omega Okada, for me, again, this is all subjective. For me, those bumps, while cringeworthy, because, on the Damian O scale, that match itself got about 22 O's, but it seemed more safer worked than the other match with Kushida and Takahashi, just because it just seemed sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
That was just me. Naito, I love Naito. Him and Tanahashi really told a great story, building to that crescendo at the end. It's like the young lion versus the old guard, and the ace of Japan on his last legs, it seems. It just told a really good story, and it was a powerful match, hard hitting. Shibata for me is always going to be the guy I want to see most in WWE, just because he gives no Fs. He will elbow you in the mouth. You kick him in the chest, he's gonna be like, all right, that's all you got? Like, give me more. Oh, that's all you got? All right, you a bitch. Like, that's how I view Shibata in the ring. Like, everyone that hits him is a punk. And he wants them to hit him harder so he can really let loose. Sort of how, do you remember how the APA was kind of like the testing ground for tag teams back in, the early 2000s?
Yeah. I mean, they were like gatekeepers.
Public Enemy, the Dudleys. For me, that's Shibata. Shibata is like the gatekeeper of New Japan. Like, if you can survive a match with Shibata, you're legit. And that's what I got with his match. I don't like Adam Cole. I'm just not a fan. I've told you this before. I'm not a fan of Adam Cole. I said this on Madman. He's a cross between Drew Galloway physically. He's like a skinny Drew Galloway mixed with Heath Slater's persona. That's it.
Oh, maybe it's because do you find him good looking?
No, I don't. I mean, I could call a dude
yes, I know. Right. Mm-hmm.
That's not my thing. Like, his in-ring work isn't that special to me.
Right.
I've seen him live twice. I've seen him on pay-per-views a few times. He's just not my cup of tea. He's not my shot of whiskey. I know people will disagree with me, and as always, you can tweet the show at Last Mark Podcast, myself at Dare to be Damian, Trina at the Marquis Mark. Just not my thing. O'Reilly, surprised he dropped the belt. He's another one. Him and Shibata, I saw in a match at Coney Island in August. I thought they killed each other. I literally thought they killed each other. So put those two in a match together. I will give the $10 now. Other than that, I wasn't a fan of. I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks anymore. The Super Kick party's over. I will still do the pose when I'm with Ricky and all that, but I think Andrew said it really best. I think he said it, whereas they knew that Okada and Omega was going to steal the show and throw all the stops out. So the Bucks were kind of like, we're not going to bring out our A stuff like we do for ROH, because what's the point? Okay, Kenny and Okada are just going to tear the house down anyway. So why are we going to, break our necks in a sense, which I understand.
The review, and the reviews that I saw was formulaic Young Bucks, pretty much. Yeah,
it was paint by numbers Young Bucks, and Rocky Romero actually was the one that impressed me the most. I don't like the whole Roppongi Vice nonsense. It just seemed really cheesy, but his whole never say die mentality, I thought worked really well for me. So thumbs up to Rocky Romero for getting like a pretty good response from yours truly. The main event, it was about 10 minutes too long. 10 minutes too long. Yeah, it was 45 minutes. It could have been 35. The last 10, and I've said this on Twitter, the last 10, best part of the match. They went from, and I've seen people say they didn't get out of second gear. I don't know what they were watching. That match, they got out of second gear those last 10 minutes, and it went to third and fourth gear. And the false finishes, while overplayed, were warranted, because honestly, how else were you going to build the crescendo, to that, where everyone thought Omega was going to pull it off, and then all of a sudden Okada, the Rainmaker is a lighter version of the clothesline from hell. Let me just say that. I'm like, it's like Jake the Snake Showdown clothesline. It's not that great, but whatever. It is what it is.
Okay.
I can take a breath now.
No, yeah. Because you know what's interesting is that I know what you're talking about, but I actually didn't really watch Wrestlekingdom. I saw the last 10 minutes. I watched the last 10 minutes of Okada and Kenny Omega. So because like someone gifted or whatever, you know, whatever. Like somebody was like, this is the best part of the match. And so I've watched that, which obviously was fantastic. But I pretty much watched most of the show through Twitter, like through the reactions of other people, and people gift things so quickly that, you know, if somebody was talking about some amazing move, somebody would gif it and like post it right away. So it's like, you know, it's not that I didn't want to watch it. I just found it so much more interesting to watch it through the eyes of other fans, like watch it through wrestling Twitter and watch people mark out and like have such a good time watching it. So I found it more interesting to watch it that way. And so it's like, I'm glad like you're super, super excited about it, because that was the general reaction on Twitter as well. And that was really cool to see everybody just losing their minds over a Japanese wrestling show, you know? And I tweeted like at the beginning of the show after seeing all this activity that I can tell you for a fact, a year ago, wrestling Twitter didn't look like this. Like people were not staying up at 3 a.m. or taking naps and setting their alarm clocks to wake up at 3 a.m. to live tweet Wrestlekingdom. Like that just wasn't something that was happening last year. And so there's such a sea change in terms of what people are watching and what they're interested in and what they want to talk about. That, you know, that's why I'm like, you know what? Like you watched it, like you've covered it for Mat Men, you're covering it for Last Mark Standing. I'm like, I wanted you to go off because it's such a special thing for people. And I love that. And, you know, I don't know if I'm going to go back and watch the whole thing. Watching it through the eyes of Twitter kind of was good enough for me, if that makes any sense. You know, I'll watch Omega and Okada, but, you know, I don't know. I watch New Japan, not consistently or regularly, but, you know, I know when people are saying there's like good shit going on over there, I know exactly what they're talking about.
Me personally, I get why you didn't watch it, because I know that, you know, you had like 4,000 things going on, so it's like, all right, well, she's excused, but
yeah.
Here's another.
Well, I tweeted about it.
No. And here's another caveat. I've never seen a New Japan show in its entirety in like the last 20 years.
Wow.
Like when they did the WCW crossover, I guess, back in like the early, what was it, the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there. But just being able to watch the production, and it pulled in casuals, because I saw this on Twitter. Our friend of the show, Mimi, who is a staunch casual, isn't really into independence. She said that was enough to pull in a casual fan. Yeah. Because the entrances, the music, oh my God, now that I'm talking about it.
The Japanese grandpas?
No, Carino and Kevin Kelly. No, they should not be allowed near any New Japan stuff ever again.
Yeah, I heard.
Again.
Yeah. I heard the English commentary was terrible.
Oh my God, Trina, when I tell you I was bored because of them, I was bored because of them. The best part was during the I guess the tag team scramble match when you know Tanahashi, what's his name? The pimp. What's his name? Yujiro Takahashi came out with the bunny girl
with the house.
and the bullet babes. The best part of their broadcast was when Carino is shushing Kelly. He's like, shh, I'm concentrating. This is performance art. What are you doing? You know, like
how very Jerry the King Lawler of him.
Yes, without being overly creepy. It was like, dude, this is art, man. Appreciate it. Shut up. You know, that was cool. Other than that, their commentary sucked. I would have rather have heard a mute guy just belting random noises while watching this than hearing Kevin Kelly and Steve Carino talk again on the microphone. They need to stop. Go away. Stop. Never come back.
Well, I mean, they've had some issues, you know, trying to find, because Morrow's gone now. If you watched any of the American broadcasts of it, I mean, Morrow's gone now, so now it's Josh Barnett and JR. And so that's even a different sound than like a couple of years ago. So, I mean, they haven't really found like a good dedicated English commentary team, I think. Morrow, fantastic. So, you know, I don't know. It's tough. You can't replace that.
Not everybody can be Mauro Ranallo, but I understand that. But all in all, good show. I didn't want to watch it through Twitter like you did. I decided not to let Twitter sway me. I know everybody was jonesing and jizzing for Okada and Omega, but I want, you know me, I need to see the in-ring stuff for myself. Did I agree with Meltzer with 6 stars? No. Did I think it was a 5-star match? If not close to it, yeah. I thought except with the lagging on and the, you know, that 10 minutes that could have been cut from it. And I get that they needed some rest holds and some breaks, you know, to facilitate more action down the road. Great. Just could have been 10 minutes later. But it wasn't worth 6 stars for me. But the bigger issue here at Last Mark Standing I have is something we talked about off air. Aside from Wrestlekingdom, the differences between a WWE product and New Japan, and the differences of what would work in WWE versus what wouldn't work that came through of New Japan. So I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take. So pew pew, get ready for the hot take gun going off. And it's pretty ironic that I'm doing this when I do the hot take, because I thought about anyone that could translate to WWE watching Wrestlekingdom. And I honestly believe the only person WWE would really be interested in is Kenny Omega, because WWE has a bad history, see Hideo Itami, of messing up foreign or Japanese imports into WWE to integrate them into the WWE style. Shinsuke Nakamura is different because he's starting in NXT. So that this is a new age. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like someone like Shibata, maybe someone like, you know, like Okada can come over and bridge that gap. But I don't see anyone that I saw New Japan that is Japanese that would successfully come over for WWE. Now, people may call me wrong. They may think I'm smoking something, but that's my opinion. I didn't see anybody that WWE should be like, I want to sign that person. And that's the beauty of just having different choices. If you like a certain person, you get to tune into that network to see a certain person. If you're on Flow Slam and you're seeing someone from, let's say, not AEW, Evolve, you can tune to watch that person. But there's no way in hell Vince McMahon, while he's alive, is going to throw ubiquitous amounts of money at someone that isn't Kenny Omega. What are your thoughts?
Look, it's tough because I know a lot of the Kenny Omega fans, and I don't know if you know this or you follow this, but like, you know, it's a staunch belief with Kenny Omega fans that he will never ever sign to WWE. Like, that's just not his thing. Like, never in a million years, you will never see Kenny Omega in WWE. And so that's, you know, that's sort of like an interesting wrench, you know, that I sort of just want to throw into your theory. And I just don't follow enough to say that that's absolutely true, because I think we were worried about so many other people coming to WWE and how they would translate. And some people turned out totally fine. You know, like a Kevin Owens. Well, not like a Kevin Owens, you know, for example, like it's like there were just worries that because he'd been on the independent circuit for 18 years, you know, and every time somebody gets signed, I worry. Like Chris Hero right now, I'm totally worried. And then I saw his entrance for NXT, I think last night, and I was like, okay, like I can on board with.
I didn't see it. What did he do?
He just his normal Chris Hero stuff. Like he just, you know, because I see him so much. Like he's at AAW all the time, and so like I've seen him live a lot. And it's just like I worried that it would feel different. And I watched his entrance, and he came in and he played to the crowd, and I was like, "Who's your motherfucking Chris Hero?" You know, like it's just it felt fine. Like it didn't feel contrived. It didn't feel gross. You know, like that's the thing sometimes is that when WWE ruins something you love, it feels really gross. And it didn't feel gross. Like it felt authentic. It felt like this is Chris Hero in WWE. Maybe his name is not Chris Hero, but this is the best that we can get. And I think I don't know, you have to keep an open mind, you know, because it's never 100% sure that anything's going to translate, no matter how good something is. You know, people were concerned about Nakamura translating, and it's worked fine. You know, I mean, so it just really depends. You know, like I can't definitively say that there isn't anybody on that roster that would translate to WWE. You know, I don't know. Everybody's just doing something different, and I don't think we should necessarily try and make everything fit.
No, but and that's that's true. That goes back to my original point with the whole there's options for people. What I don't want any of these guys to sign with WWE unless, you know, it's going to make them incredibly wealthy,
happy, right?
Or happy, yes. But if I'm a wrestler in New Japan and I'm living the quote unquote life, because this goes back to sports too. This goes back, let's say professional basketball players. Stephon Marbury, if you're familiar with him, a bit of a
living the life.
Yeah, he's living the life.
Living the life in China.
You know,
they have statues to him. Oh yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I went to China last year and I sought out the Stephon Marbury like paraphernalia that they have. So yeah, I mean, everybody has a different concept of what a good life is. You know, I think at the end of the day, we want to make enough money to be happy and be comfortable and provide for our family and stuff like that. And Japan gives guys that opportunity that they wouldn't necessarily be getting in the Philippines. Oh my God, in the United States.
That's a great question. Do they have wrestling in the Philippines?
They because this is like a Filipino thing. I think that's why I said that. That's so weird that I did that. They do have wrestling in the Philippines. They don't necessarily have like independent promotions, so they don't have Dragon Gate or anything like that, or New Japan. But they air WWE in the Philippines, and WWE performs there and stuff like that. And so I haven't had the chance to really investigate and see if they do have indie promotions. But I'm really sorry that I think like that just sort of popped into my head, and so that's why I said that. But what was I talking about? Yeah, so guys can make a living in other places in Japan. You know, I don't know. Like, do we always want to be asking, would this translate in WWE?
No,
like,
I wouldn't. Because
and so, like, does it matter that nobody else other than Kenny Omega would translate?
The only reason, I think we're sidestepping what I really want to say, and you know what I really want to say because we talked about it off air.
I don't know. I usually don't pay attention.
Oh, you don't pay attention when we talk before the show? That's good to know.
I do pay attention, but I don't think I retain it. And I just said Philippines. So I don't trust me.
Okay.
Don't trust me to know things.
Okay, so I'm going to put myself out there.
Yeah, just do it.
There's a racial component behind this, in my opinion.
Okay.
The fact that's why I'm saying the only one I can see WWE, wink, wink,